I never thought I would have to attend my murdered sister's funeral. Mary, I can't forgive myself. I'll find the truth about what happened to us. I swear. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical...
I will be fine.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save life.
Do you need any medical...
I'm afraid I do.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. But thanks, anyway.
I'd like to...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft.
I need blood.
I'll leave...
Yeah.
Good evening.
Evening.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
Not really. I think I caught something in this bloody hospital. I swear I'm dead, yet smiling inside, Dr. Reed.
As long as you remain here, I will make sure you don't have to worry about your health.
Don't think you can do much about it. Damage is done.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
You disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Brilliant minds in London.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen.
Good evening.
I'm okay.
I have to go now, sir. But...
Good evening.
do you require
Do you know...
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Goodbye, Mrs. Go...
I'm quite...
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself. I've just not taken the time to do so.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening. Do you need medical attention? Well, don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Please show me.
Of course. It's just... Tomorrow, more bodies will arrive and then sadly depart.
So many deaths.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed of the Pembroke Hospital. May I be of assistance?
Dr. Reed. So it's you who saved my friend Oswald. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
And you are?
Newton Blight. Oswald and I recently returned from the war.
Why do you stay here now that Mr. Thatcher's back?
It's complicated. Since the war, Oswald's been really nervous with the idea of entering any hospital. And me, I've got my own issues.
Can you speak about them?
Rats, sir. Even seeing one, they turn me. Just want to run. It's that fear that stopped me from going after Oswald when he left.
What can you tell me about the war, Mr. Blight? If you want to speak about it, of course.
War was... Well, you know, sir. The stench of death everywhere. Your mates lying bleeding in the mud. Just praying to make it through and get home. Bloody nightmare.
Did you know Oswald Thatcher before the war?
No. We met in the battlefield. I think we're in the same boat to France. We've stuck together ever since.
I fought in France, too. I served as a field surgeon, but it was not uncommon to repel an assault, especially at night.
Yeah. The first time I was wounded, I had to protect the infirmary from hostiles. Twice.
You are always welcome at the Pembroke Hospital. As a former officer, I'll be honored to welcome a fellow veteran.
I'm not giving up on bringing Oswald back to the hospital. I just need to convince him that he needs some help.
Perhaps he needs to reach that decision by himself.
Could you speak to him? He doesn't usually listen to doctors, but perhaps because you've been through it, you can talk him round.
What caused your phobia of rats, Newton?
It happened last year following an artillery attack. I was trapped for 2 days in a hole under 2 dead soldiers. And there were rats.
Go on.
It started eating me as soon as I dozed. Gnawing at my ears, my fingers, lips. I couldn't move. Couldn't call for help.
I see.
No, you don't. You have no idea what it is to wake up buried under bodies. Fucking vermin eating your flesh. Oswald. He found me and saved me.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself. Hello again, Mr. Thatcher. Do you feel any better now?
Yes. This neighborhood may stink of dog shit and reek of piss, but to me it smells like the purest mountain air.
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir. I'm grateful for what you've done, but I've never felt comfortable with doctors.
I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you, I'm not like other doctors you may have consulted with.
It is true. You risked your life to save me, after all. It would be impolite to refuse your counsel.
Mr. Thatcher, do you have a job?
No. Since I came back from the war, I spent most of my time and energy just trying to forget.
I understand what you mean. I was a soldier too.
No. Nobody can truly understand what I've gone through.
Why were you locked in that sewer? What happened?
I went by the canal after an argument with a friend. Got chased by these fucking wankers and had to barricade myself in, despite my claustrophobia.
Why did you run? What was the reason for your argument?
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital, but I can't stand being closed in. Makes me feel like I'm suffocating.
Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given you an official diagnosis?
That's what the bloody doctor said. But I don't want to go to a hospital to get checked again. I'll deal with it my own way.
Oswald, why did you not go to the Pembroke Hospital to seek medical help?
I don't trust doctors. All they care about was their careers and processes. I won't be locked in any room again by anyone.
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go away by itself. You need professional help.
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last a lifetime. Hospitals reek of chemicals and death. What I need is fresh air.
Do you want to talk about why you have this fear of being enclosed, Mr. Thatcher?
No, I really don't.
An irrational fear like yours is usually rooted in a specific event. Perhaps it would help to talk about it.
Well, Doctor, take a guess then, if you're so interested in my case.
When I rescued you, you expressed joy at seeing the sky again. So I'm inclined to believe you were trapped or buried somehow. Maybe during a shelling.
Jeez, you're good, Doc. You're really good.
Go on, please. Tell me more about it.
Newton and I were trapped in a circulation tunnel after an artillery attack. We were buried alive for several days, without ever knowing if we'd be found.
Oswald, tell me about what happened when you were buried in that tunnel with Newton.
It was more than dark. It was black as pitch. Hours seemed like days, and days like months. Oh, the terror, the shameful thoughts. Lord have mercy.
What you endured was terrifying. It would have completely destroyed weaker men.
It did not destroy Newton.
Shameful thoughts. Tell me about them.
At some point, I don't remember which day, when I thought we'd never be rescued, that this would be our end, I thought about...
Say it, Mr. Thatcher. If you ever want to heal, you have to say it.
I thought about what I could do to survive, just for a few more days. I thought about killing Newton. Killing and eating him. The man I fucking love.
Tell me about your true feelings for Newton.
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. I can't imagine life without him.
Why should you be ashamed?
I'm not, I said. But Newton sees it differently.
I admire your honesty. It takes courage to stand up to society. The world needs people like you to create change.
Courage is what we needed in the trenches, looking death in the face every day. I speak plain. I speak my mind.
Have you always been this straightforward?
All I know is, before you saved me by the sewer, my only regret was I wouldn't be able to hold or kiss Newton again. I love him, that's all.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. I cannot enter.
Still alive and healthy. Can't you be satisfied with
I have not survived being buried in a mass grave for these trivialities.
We're not in the middle of a battlefield anymore. Things are different
It's locked.
in so many ways.
Hello again.
Good evening, Doctor.
How do you feel about Oswald Thatcher? You are more than friends, aren't you?
I love him. I love Oswald. We knew we wouldn't survive the war without each other. But I am terrified, Doctor.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out? Oswald says I'm ashamed, but it ain't that. It's more, well, you know, I never thought I'd love a man.
I won't say a word, Mr. Blight. Your secret is safe with me.
I fought for my country and I survived. I saw my comrades die. And now society tells me I'm a criminal for who I love. It makes me so angry.
You and Oswald were buried alive during the war. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It was last summer. A shell hit our trench and we were buried for a week.
Oswald seemed far more traumatized than you by the event.
It wasn't the first time it happened to me. Surviving it again gave me strength. You believe that?
How did you survive for a week?
Luckily for us, there were rations and water in the tunnel. It was an outpost, see? Since then, Oswald's not keen on being inside for too long.
Goodbye, Mr. Blood.
This is no time to sell.
my dear sister. I don't know if I have the strength.
Somebody help! What do you want? Somebody help! What do you want? Somebody help! Who are you? What do you want? Somebody help! Who are you? What do you want? Somebody help! Who are you? What do you want? Somebody help!
Are you all right, miss?
I don't know. Who were those people? They wanted to kill me. Why?
They've lost their minds in the epidemic. They won't come back for now.
You seem to know a lot about them, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm investigating this disease.
I am Xiaoxun. Thank you so much for helping me, Mr. Reed. I must go to the cemetery now. Goodbye.
Carnage is Father Whitaker's. This man's far too old to be Samuel. No. By the look of his clothes, this man's a docker. Samuel isn't here. I had better follow the blood trail. As I feared, Samuel no longer preaches the good word. Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony.
I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. We commend unto thy hands of mercy, most merciful Father, the soul of our sister departed, and we commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Why kill my Mary and stick her here in this cold, god-awful place?
These are the legal requirements for the epidemic, madam.
Oh, Avery, I feel so tired. Please take me home.
Yes, madam.
Oh, Mary. What have I done? If I could only change one thing. One thing. This is a nightmare.
Jonathan, there is nothing you can do but accept it.
What brings you here?
I thought you could use the company. I am so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
She was a good person. Vibrant, full of life. She was kindness incarnate, my Mary.
You're a good person, Jonathan. And a young Ekon. A newborn cast into the night without so much as a candle to guide your way.
She had been scouring the most dangerous parts of London in search of me. And it led to her death.
Jonathan, don't.
I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered, and it haunts me.
Jonathan, stop. Listen carefully. You must come to terms with this. You must learn to live with what happened.
How can I? I've destroyed my family. My poor mother. I can't even console her.
Don't you see? You're doing the work of our enemies, feeding your remorse. We are weakest when we grieve, and the guilt blurs our senses.
And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You've felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this.
I don't want to lose you, Jonathan. I've lost so many friends. Loved ones I cherished. Pray for Mary's forgiveness, if you must.
Thank you, my lady. I will.
Good. But be careful. If I found you here, others may too.
What should I do then?
St. Mary's Church is not far from here. Go there and make your peace. Find the solace you need.
My lady wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
And off to church he goes, a newborn seeking divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known.
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin, forget your old weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them, abide by them, or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop. But I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
You seem to me a good soul, Vicar. But this is a personal matter.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel. For I can be as silent as stone.
I've words for one departed. They're not for living ears to hear.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest. As you seem quite adamant.
Open your heart, my son. Tell me what burdens you. With whom do you wish to speak?
She was my sister.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
She was murdered.
I see. And how are you feeling, my son?
I feel responsible. The pain is consuming me.
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What words would you like to say to your poor sister?
I'm so sorry, Mary. I promise to find who is responsible for all this. I'll put an end to this horror.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
There. I confessed to that vicar. Do I feel better? Only time will tell. Remember you.
Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me. Made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
Tell me what you are.
I am the whitened bones and blackened soil. The land made blood coursing through thy veins.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage. brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but... well, maybe it was him.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stone, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been... We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well. I'll help you.
Jonathan, please. I can't rely on anyone else. And this concerns you as it involves vampires. Someone has taken advantage of our more liberal tendencies here.
In what way?
Jonathan, I may turn my head when you or her ladyship indulge, but I will not allow this place to become a nest for street feeders.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man?
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Rest assured, I will protect you, and your staff.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this. Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks. Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
Do you need medical attention, sir?
Afraid so. In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately, got that fear in London now.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You are wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. What on earth happened here?
Daily routine.
The giant morgue disguised as a hospital.
Oh, Jonathan. I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? A hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon. I have this thirst for blood. Are you all right, Miss Shun?
My name is Xiao Shun. This is the proper way to address someone in my country.
I do apologize, Xiao Shun. Are you all right?
Yes, I am. This is the only place where I can find some kind of serenity. Some way to remember my dear Matthew.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
This part of town is very fragile. I hope the trust so many people put in her will not be betrayed.
Tell me how your husband died, Xiao Shun.
Matthew died of the Spanish flu, like so many others. It's a mundane cause of death these days, but for me it meant the end of the world.
At this time, there is so little medical science can do to defeat this terrible epidemic. I'm truly sorry.
The worst thing is not his death, even if it tears me apart. The worst is not to have seen it coming, to have lost him so quickly, even before realizing it.
Did he hide his condition from you?
Matthew was a smiling type, a happy sort. Everything that I am not. Did he laugh at his death to come, or did he not realize what was going to happen? I'll never know.
The Spanish flu may be the worst disease mankind has ever faced. Why are you blaming yourself?
You don't understand. I didn't know he was so sick. I didn't realize the gravity of his situation until it was too late.
As harsh as this sounds, we are all equally vulnerable to this awful disease. It can take the strongest man in just a couple of days.
I never said goodbye to Matthew. We never realized how bad it was. We laughed about it even. He always made me laugh. Now I don't have enough tears to shed.
Are you on your own? Do you have any friends or family who you could be with?
I have family and friends, but I need to be here alone. One day maybe I'll go back to them, but not now. I need silence, and I need sadness.
I've seen many deaths in my life, and we all grieve in our own way. Some stay silent, or need to shout. Others need company, and some just can't stand it.
Thank you for your sincere words, Dr. Reed. I sense you trying to help me, even if I don't quite understand why.
Are you a doctor yourself? Is this why you feel so guilty for not saving your sick husband?
No, I am not. But I still need to blame someone for Matthew's death. And who else, if not his wife, who did not see it coming?
I'm a physician, one of the best in the country. But I was unable to save my own sister, Mary. She died in my arms.
Why tell me this? Is it supposed to make me feel better?
No. But I felt I should share it with you, since she is buried here too.
May I ask what caused the death of your sister?
You could say she was also killed by a terrible disease. A disease I have sworn to fight and cure, no matter how long it takes.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Dr. Reed. Maybe it's time we start to rebuild our lives, you and I.
You realize you can't stay here forever, don't you? Eventually you'll have to leave the cemetery.
Why? Why should I go? Since this is the only place I can find peace of mind.
You're right. I believe silence has a curative effect for the pain we feel. I suppose it provides space for reflection.
You sound like you're no stranger to the pain I feel.
Let's just say, I too have a good reason to visit cemeteries at night.
Please accept my condolences for your loss then, Dr. Reed.
You should go home now.
I think you're right. Cemeteries are for the dead, for they need silence too. Thank you for your honesty and your wisdom, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your company, Xiaoshun. Take care on the way home.
Maybe I'll see you again in Whitechapel. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye for now.
Does it, boys? We can deal with this burning.
Please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace.
Welcome back, Jonathan. Do you need anything?
How are things going in the dispensary?
Things are going fine, since we made our arrangement.
Show me what you have in stock, please.
This elixir will give you faith again.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
There's one of them vermin! Crawl back to the hell that spawned you! Over there! There's one of them vermin!
It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
No rest for the wicked! Have no fear, brother! The beast shit, that leech is Leech spotted! Watch out! Die, vermin! Get safe to this! Oh, Christ! Don't like that, do ya? Here's one of them! You're mine, vermin! Finish it! Stop! Leeches!
Doesn't like burning, does it?
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here, like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I don't have any money for you leeches.
I'm not here for charity, Miss...
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want, then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my wet boot boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think. This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
I'm not interested in a career in the criminal underworld, Miss Cox.
Fair enough. Stay away from us then, if you don't want to get hurt or worse.
Since my return from the war, I don't feel that concerned by threats, knives, or even bullets, if you must know.
That's exactly what that stupid trade unionist claimed after he attacked one of us. Booth and I reminded him a bullet beats words every time.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
You can't trust anyone around here. As soon as you lower your guard, you can be sure some arsehole will take advantage of you.
Really? Don't you think that's a little bit excessive?
Bastards, all of them. This region only responds to violence and threats.
You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular.
Take the gravediggers of Southwark. They must pay me every week, but it looks like they forgot who gave them permission to steal from the dead.
Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low.
Whatever. Hey, since you're a doctor and all, maybe you can access that forbidden area and remind those bastards what they owe.
You still use your husband's name, Edwina. Why is that?
Why shouldn't I? He may be a bloody bastard, but I'm still his wife and his name means something round here.
Are you aware of what happened to him?
Yes. I'm sure he fought till the end and looked death in the eyes. The boys will mourn him. Except one of them, maybe.
Booth Digby looks at you with love-struck eyes. Tell me, Edwina, is the feeling mutual?
You have no idea how refreshing it can be for a woman to receive all the pleasure she needs. For once.
I'll take your word for it.
What is it, Doctor? A woman's not supposed to talk about these things.
Behind all your crude words and your attitude, I sense romance and a soft heart, Miss Cox.
Romance? I have no time for such rubbish. I use Booth like I use everyone else.
Tell me about the man you and Booth killed, Edwina.
The bastard killed one of us and received retribution. There's nothing else to say.
What happened exactly?
I don't know, and I don't care. One of ours was killed by that communist bastard, but he didn't brag for long.
So you have no idea what really happened, but you executed him anyway.
No one messes with the wet boot boys, Doctor. This is our territory, and this is our law.
And your conscience is clear. You kill without hesitation.
Violence is an efficient tool, Dr. Reed, when used properly.
So you decide who lives and who dies, just like that.
Yes, Doctor. Just like that. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's my way of dealing with troublemakers.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
Heartens me to know you can't see me, my sweet queen. Perhaps we should have listened to what the idiot had to... You...
Tell me about the man you killed, Booth. What happened?
One of us had been killed, so we had to retaliate. That's the whole story.
There has to be more to it than that.
No, really. One of us got killed, so the killer had to die. That's how things have always been done round here. No one gives a shit.
Are you so heartless that you could pull the trigger and kill someone without even blinking?
Have you looked around recently? Do you really think one more body will make a difference?
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
Whatever do you mean?
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then. For if the sewer dog is back, and hunting all these poor folk, he needs a catching.
A sewer dog? What's it look like?
It's an old story. A monster with daggers for teeth and icy claws. He comes of a sudden, night
Good evening.
Whatever.
Don't you recognize?
Don't take it.
Yes.
I'm Dyson Del...
Inebriation aside.
Yes. I feel sicker than usual these days.
Take this, then. And perhaps you could try to slow down the alcohol intake, too.
Hey, Doc, you don't really want me to stop the only remedy I can afford.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Delaney?
I drink. I drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night. And then I drink some more.
Why do you drink so much?
Maybe it's because I prefer dying slowly. Death can be so abrupt. Personally, I like to see mine coming at my own pace.
You sound very sad, sir.
That's because I am, Doc.
Don't you work at all?
I'd love to, but I don't have the time. Didn't I tell you? Drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
No reason at all to rejoice, then? Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
All right. Go on.
A few years ago, when I believed a resolute man could change things around here for good, a tragedy occurred nearby.
What kind of tragedy?
It was a bomb. Bomb that exploded and killed many people. Metal and blood everywhere. Shouts, fire, broken window of the shoe shop, the torn street light.
You lost people you loved that day, didn't you?
I've lost everything. But you know what the worst part is? I don't even remember where it happened. I've drunk so much to forget it, and now I can't remember where it was. I can't pay my homage to the dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delaney.
It's okay. If you ever find the place, just leave a flower for me there. Even if you tell me where it is. I'm not sure I'd memorize it.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
Why are you so cynical?
Cynicism is the polite way to express despair, Doctor.
No reason at all to rejoice, then?
Let me tell you.
Another time. Surely you must have had dreams and expectations when you were young, like everybody else.
Sure. I wanted things to change. To really change, and to change for good. The bigger the dream, the harder the fall.
Sounds like you were an idealist, which is honorable.
No, sir. I was an anarchist, and I believed that exclusive property is a robbery in nature. I wanted a new world to rise from the ashes, Dr. Reed.
Do you really think the world is that bad?
No, I believe we all can choose to make it better. But most of us are too weak, too corrupt and too guilty. I failed for sure, but others will come.
I want to know more about your past as an anarchist, Dyson.
I'm still an anarchist, Doctor, make no mistake. I just reject violence as a tool to change the world, unlike my comrades.
Do you still see your comrades, then? Even if you don't agree with their methods anymore, I mean.
No. I hope they'll come to share my point of view one day. I'll raise my glass to that splendid idea.
Do you believe in a bloodless revolution, then?
I do not believe in much anymore, Doctor. But I'll admit I like your idea of peaceful change. I like it a lot.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
I really don't know. I heard he'd been abducted. I don't know if he's back.
Who could tell me then?
About the sad saint. I'll try asking Tom Watts about him.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Oh boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
So...
I patrol...
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour. But I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there... they have plenty of reasons to hide.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton. Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the Wet Boot Boys and the Communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
This city has abandoned so many of its children. It's tragic.
I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
A real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? Just grow eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentlemen are easy to
It's locked.
in these parts. I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but worry.